handed the government a list of demands because basically for the DPP to come out and say that there's not enough evidence to go to court, like who is he? He's not a judge. You know, he hasn't even put the evidence before the court for it to be tested. He's just gone and made a decision anyway. And in our minds, you know, like if procedures haven't been followed, policies haven't been followed, total disregard for welfare, illegal bail hearing, you know, Monash police standing in, you know, in the middle of nowhere in the desert, you know, early hours of the morning, like, you know, we can pretty much guess what was going on there. And my personal opinion is they knew he was in Laverton, coming from a community meeting, knew there'd be alcohol, they sat there at the early hours of the morning just to pick him up. But things like that happen all the time, and it's the proof and the evidence that we just don't, you know, have for them kind of things. But so we handed the government a list of demands because over the last 2 years all we've got is delay tactics, and it took them 18 months to even do an inquest in the first place, which is ridiculous. And you know, it's not good for the family, it's not good for the community. You know, like your community want to be safe with the knowledge that the government are going to protect them, you know, and protect people in custody. Because even though you're in custody, you still have that basic right to your life. You know, your human rights, everyone makes mistakes, and because people go against a system that was created not for them but by people in the past, you know, without the proper education and resources and support, how are they supposed to stay out of it in the first place? But that's what it's all about, incarceration of Aboriginal people for control of the land, and I'm against mining too, I can't stand it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so we've given them 2 weeks and they've got to give us a response this week. If we get no response, or like a terrible response that's just not sufficient, or we just basically get refused a meeting with the Premier, that's when we're going to start non-violent, low-level civil disobedience. So we will be doing a lot of stuff out there, so just watch out, because we're going to be just running them up basically, but within the confines of the legal system and what we're allowed to do. So have any of you seen Step Up 2? It's like one of them real corny dance movies that America makes. Yeah, anyway, like in there, what they've got to do this thing, it's about street credit, right? And so they go up and they're like bopping in front of like these dance like stars of that community. So, and they're doing it and then they put it up on YouTube and then like they get their cred. So we were thinking of doing something like that. But yeah, just got to work out ways of doing it, like walking behind police or something, I don't know, strategies, you know. But so we gave them a list of demands, and so there's 7 altogether. One of them is that the coronial inquest into Mr. Ward's death be reopened. We just feel that not enough was done, and it's disgusting. And the way that Mr. Ward died, no one should ever go through that, and the family's still suffering, and the government just basically don't care, you know. We also want an independent review of the DPP's decision not to bring forward criminal charges. That's a big one because, like, I just don't understand how he came to that conclusion. Like, any layperson can see that there needs to be charges laid, and this is our Director of Public Prosecutions. Like, what is wrong with him? Mr. McGrath, you know? Number 3, the evidence and advice that the DPP used to make his decision that no criminal charges be laid needs to be tabled in Parliament. And we don't care that he wants to hide behind legal privilege, because as far as we're concerned, when they're dealing with the community, there is no legal privilege. Because we put them there, we put the government there, so we expect them to do what we as a community want. Number 4 was the transportation of detained prisoners be returned to the Department of Corrective Services and a termination of the G4S contract. We've managed to succeed in, you know, like trying to eliminate all of the regional travel with the vans, you know, like, and we've been successful with getting like coaches and air transport, and a lot of, you know, like people from the Prison Officers Union have also come forward giving their support, because they have to work under the terrible conditions that they're put into. We've also got there be an independent and effective investigations of any future deaths in custody. As a family, as families, we are sick of waiting like 12 to 18 months for an inquest. You know what I mean? Like, this is just ridiculous. And especially for cultural people, you know, you need to have your ceremonies and stuff like that just can't be put on because the government simply don't have the resources where they should be. You know, if they could go and have all their little tea parties, you know, where they're wheeling out all their bottles of wine like when Julia Gillard was elected, you know, surely they can take that money and go and drink a cheaper bottle of wine and put it where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, you can walk down and get a $5 bottle of wine, which is just as good. Like, I just don't understand. Oh, this is good because it cost me $400. Sorry. It's the end of the day, see? So you've got me at the end of the day where I'm like, even like a joke, yeah. New criminal offences of corporate and custodial manslaughter be introduced into legislation. And this is to ensure that parties responsible for any similar deaths in custody don't just escape any kind of, you know, charges or any responsibility. Like, it's just ridiculous. You know, like, if I left my 3 kids in the car, right, the way that they did with Mr. Ward, I'd be sitting in Bandia right now. You know what I mean? And he's been gone for 2.5 years. Like, and I'd still be in there. I probably would have got 10 years or something. You know what I mean? And DCP would have come in, kids would have been made ward of the state, you know, and yet they can do this to a well-respected man. You know what I mean? Like, and what we also want is an independent public inquiry into institutionalised racism in the WA criminal justice system. And what else I would like to see is an national independent inquiry into every single death in custody that has happened since the Royal Commission. You know, and a crossover of every single coronial investigation to see what recommendations have actually been implemented within each inquest, right across the board, across Australia. You know, there is that much money, they can bring the money forward. They want to carry on, they can pay for what they've done, and it's as simple as that. And basically what we'd like to see from the unions, first of all, I'd like to thank the unions for their support. We've had a lot of support from the unions, which has been awesome. And we've actually had a few things here as well, like workshops and stuff for deaths in custody. And there's always, the union's always present at all the rallies and that, so just muddage, you know. That means like deadly. Yeah, and what else we'd like to do is for you to take it back, you know, like to your executives and, you know, just to everybody, pass the word on. You know, like the Ward Campaign for Justice is never going to stop until there is justice. You know, and if the government think that we're just going to go away quietly, they've got another thing coming, because this mouth can talk so much that I could just stand there and just keep talking, well, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So, like, if they want to keep ignoring us, well, we're just going to keep chasing them, you know, and we're going to start holding pickets outside their offices, you know, got to find out the legalities about home, because I think there's stalking and stuff there, you know, and trespass and stuff, but... So we want to basically just have all of this low-level non-violent civil disobedience. Deaths in custody have also been defunded about 6 years ago from the government. They used to receive something like $3 million and stuff like that, but because they actually did work, the government took the funding away. So, yeah, you know, what they do, yeah, when things are working. Yeah, and so basically what we'd like you to do is just spread the word, you know, and if you can donate, like even if it's only $5, $10, whatever, or anyone, you know, like just log on to the website, deathinCustody.org.au, and just, you know, like there's all links on there for all information. We've got everything on there about the Ward campaign. The rally last week, we've just had coverage all over Australia, which has just been awesome, you know, like just to let the government know, hey, this isn't going away. And we are never ever going to sit down and die and lay down and just die and just, you know, not keep fighting. You know, even if we have to make up little coffins that have wheels and put signs on there that says Aboriginal prisoner transport. You know what I mean? Like, even if we've got to go that far, because that's basically what it is. You know what I mean? And so with Mr. Ward, it was totally disgusting. It was totally horrible. They need to get off their their bums, you know, and actually do something. The DPP needs to pull his fingers out and give us that evidence, you know, that, you know, his whole decision and everything like that. And they need to get on with the compensation, stop delaying everything, you know, and realise that what they did was just terrible. It was terrible, disgusting, horrible, and it is something that no one should ever have to go through. You know, like not even a prisoner of war, not even anyone who was, you know, no one should be made to lay in the back of a van with 56 degrees, metal surfaces, drunk so you're dehydrated already. You know what I mean? And it's just disgusting. And like I've said to the media, like I've said to anyone, you know, like this mouth will keep going and they are never ever going to shut me up. So as long as this mouth can talk and deaths in custody are right here standing alongside me, you know, like, and the family as well, we are going to push forward and we are never going to stop. And Colin Barnett and Christian Porter, they need to be very scared, because if I was them, I would be, you know. That's right, yeah. And I think that's basically it. I can't think of anything else to say. But yeah, like just thank you, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak, and justice will be served.